Part 63. The Swashi army flee from the battlefield meeting with the invincible Dayan army. After walking for another day or two, I just met the people led by Mo Zhang who came to meet them. When Mo Zhang saw two familiar figures in his clairvoyant, his depressed mood finally rose up. It's the prince and General Xie, they are all right. Jingji, who followed him, looked enviously at the clairvoyant in his hand. They are Imperial guards who just arrived in the borderlands. And they are very envious of the clairvoyance that almost all generals in the borderlands have. I heard that this clairvoyant was invented by Prince Duan and asked people to make it. Now that they are following Prince Duan, will there be a chance to have such a magical thing in the future? When everyone heard the news of the prince and General Xie, they were all excited and went on their horses one after another. Mo Zhang walked in front of Ming Yu excitedly, plopped down on his knees. Your Highness, you are all right, it's great. Your subordinate's ambulance response is late, Your Highness is suffering. Looking at Ming Yu who was in front of him, Mo Zhang almost fell and came to tears. Ming Yu helped him up and patted him on the shoulder. He also felt a lot of emotion in his heart. He carelessly lost Jingji this time, which has affected a lot of people. He can understand the feelings in Mo Yang's heart. After 1,000 words, I only said one sentence at the end, Commander Mo is tired. Jingji came over and saluted Ming Yu, my subordinate. Jingji originally belonged to His Majesty's Imperial Guard. The purpose is to come and protect His Royal Highness Duan. Ming Yu was quite surprised. No matter how he didn't take care of it in the palace before, he also knew that the Imperial Guard was the personal guard beside his father. And they were all named after the heavenly stems and earthly branches, which is absolutely not wrong. What did you say? Did the Royal Father send you here? The Imperial Guards? Ming Yu too couldn't believe it and asked again. It's over, this matter has already spread to the capital. And the Father Emperor may not know how to deal with the people who are implicated in this matter. He originally wanted to slow down for a while, and when the matter was over, he would play tricks on himself and get away with it. Okay, now, it's useless to say anything. Jingji replied respectfully. Exactly. Your Majesty specially dispatched 1,000 elite guards to guard His Highness, and I will be responsible for His Highness's safety in the future. Mo Zhang, who was on the side, glanced at him, silently saying nothing. Come on, now there are elites. Wei, they can only step aside. Yeah, they can't even protect the prince. How can they still be qualified to protect the prince? Now he can only hope that the prince will take care of his old feelings and be able to keep him by his side. He is already satisfied. 1,000 guards? Where are these many used? Ming Yu's head hurts. The 500 guards before, he was almost unable to support them, and now there are 1,000 more people. This is the rhythm of eating him. Thinking about being stared at by countless pairs of eyes every day, I felt a little uncomfortable. These elite guards of the Imperial Guard are the Emperor's personal guards. But now they are sent to guard their own prince. What's the matter? We can only wait for this to pass before returning them. Although I know that this is the father's heart of boxing and loving son. But this is against the ancestral system, I still don't want to let it go. How does he know now that the Emperor has changed his ancestral system beyond recognition? Is the Emperor all right in the capital? Ming Yu felt sorry for the Emperor's father, and he didn't know what happened to him after not seeing him for so long. Jingji stood up straight, cleared his throat, and said loudly, Your Majesty's order, the 14th son of the Emperor, Ming Yu, listens to the order. Ming Yu was stunned and had to kneel down to listen to the order. Everyone around also knelt down. 14th, you stinky brat, I won't put on the roof for 3 days, right? Have you been able to stand up? Was someone picked up and slipped away? I let you Stinky brat live a stable life in Beijing long ago, but you didn't listen to me. If so, now you finally know how powerful it is. With such a long distance, it is difficult to save near fire from far water. Do you think it is still like when you were in the palace, when you got into trouble and hid behind your father, you would be all right? Father can't protect you for the rest of your life. In a word, take care of yourself. Ming Yu's eyes were a little sour, and the person in this world who really loved him was his father. After Zhang Shiki finished reading the decree, he helped Ming Yu up and whispered, "His Royal Highness, the Emperor is very worried about you." When he heard the news that you were kidnapped, His Majesty almost fainted. Ming Yu hurriedly asked, "What? Is the royal father all right?" Zhang Shiki shook his head. "It's not a big problem to have an imperial physician. Before my subordinates leave, I have been instructed to bring the prince back safe and sound." Ming Yu was relieved, and was about to set off again. Xie Yisho walked over with a solemn face. "My prince, the chaser is here." So soon? Although Ming Yu was mentally prepared, he didn't expect it to come so quickly. He took the clairvoyant, looked at the chasing soldiers behind the smoke and dust, glanced at Xie Yisho, and exchanged a look with him. "Mo Zhang has already stood up. General Wang, you should go first. It should be no problem for our guards to drag on." He also saw that there were a lot of people coming. If all the troops from Shuishi country came over, then the prince would have no problem. They don't know if they can go. When they came out, General Wei said that it would attract the enemy's troops to the south. Now it seems that General Wei's move is useless. The enemy has seen through it, and a large group of people will chase after them. Ming Yu didn't move, but he assessed the situation on both sides in his heart. "General Xie, do you think we can give it a shot? The 500 people in the guard battalion, as well as the 1,000 newly reinforced elite guards, may also have the strength to fight." Xie Yisho glanced at him and pondered the possibility of doing so. The enemy is estimated to have 7,000 or 8,000 people. And the prince is sure that he wants eggs to touch rocks? What if there are many enemies? Who said the barbarians are invincible? He just wanted to give it a try. Besides, he was confident and said with a smile, "Why not? The guard camp is here, and I have more than one trump card. Didn't the Yi people claim to be invincible right away? If you don't frustrate their spirit, you will feel uneasy in your heart, and the opportunity to practice your voice will be delivered to your door. I will really go back tomorrow." "All right," Xie Yisho nodded. In the current situation, it seems that he just escaped. How far can he escape? Might as well just follow what Ming Yu said and give it a try. If the battle strategy is well organized, more than 1,000 people on your side may not have the strength to fight in a battle. Mo Zhang was anxious to die. The prince could escape, and he had to hold back the enemy even if he died. But the prince and the others didn't mean to flee, but to prepare for a head-to-head confrontation. 1,005 people against 7,000 or 8,000 people. This is just a fantasy, right? "My prince, you all leave first. We can just stay here." Zhang Shiki also knew that this place was dangerous, and it was almost useless for the prince to stay. Ming Yu smiled slightly and looked at Mo Zhang. "Commander Mo, do you still remember the phalanx you trained?" Mo Zhang was stunned. The prince meant. Ming Yu patted him. "After training for so long, it's time to bring out all your skills and let everyone see the results of the training. Are you afraid?" Mo Zhang was excited, and burst out with pride. "What's so scary? After waiting for so long, the brothers are already ready. Next, I will order the brothers to line up." Ming Yu nodded, and then said to Zhang Shiki, "Since you are here, you have to obey this prince's orders. Do you have any objections?" "Your subordinates will have no objection." "Okay, your 1,000 men and horses are divided into 2 teams. One team is headed by you. and the other team is led by General Xie. They are arranged on the left and right flanks of the enemy army. Plug your ears. Then when the enemy formation is disordered, rush up to ignite this thing with a fire stick and throw it into the enemy. Ming Yu handed the thing in his hand to Zheng Shiki. Zheng Shiki looked at the round porcelain vase in his hand. It was well sealed. He didn't know what was in it, but his hand was quite heavy. There was a thin line at the top of the hole, which should be the place where the fire started, as the prince said. Although he didn't understand why the prince ordered to block the horse's ears, he still obeyed the orders. Ming Yu took the time to make 2 or more porcelain bottle ammunition and medicine along the way, just in case of emergencies, and now he distributes them all, and these things are enough. Otherwise, he would not have the confidence to defeat the enemy. After Ming Yu gave the order, he looked at Xie Yishou. Does General Xie think this is feasible? Is there anything else that needs to be added? He raised his eyes to look at the guard camp that had already formed the formation, and thought he was overthinking it. It's not that he never fought against the guards before, he watched the guards grow up little by little, and he shouldn't doubt their abilities. It's hard to say too many extra words. Everyone has already started preparations, and they are all ready to win. So, what if the army is strong and the horse is strong? What if the number of people is large? Then give it a try. Give it a go, and people will definitely conquer the sky. Mo Zhang himself was also in the first row. The combination of shields in his hands was firmly planted on the ground. And there was a triangular support behind him. People hiding behind did not need to exert too much force. This is specially designed by Ming Yu. It is said that the triangle support point is the most stable. After many tests, the strongest material was chosen to make this shield. Everyone is ready and waiting calmly. This is the time to really test the training results. Cha-Cha-Chi looked at the small square formation like ants in front of him. Prince Duan, Ming Yu of Dayan Country, was there. He only needed a charge to capture Prince Duan alive. He laughed out loud, floating and shaking the big tree, ridiculously over the top. Even a few hundred people can stop him? Unexpectedly, Dayan Country's Prince Duan really fled here. Master Song actually said it right. He followed it all the way. They quickly found this place with the traces left by the two. If it's a little later, I'm afraid they will flee back to Dayan Country. A luxury car of the Central Army drove to the front of the team. The curtain of the carriage was lifted, and Tuoba Ren sat in it. He coughed a few times, and then raised his voice and said, Prince Duan of Dayan Country has finally come to Shuishi Country. Why don't you come and sit? Instead, you are in a hurry to leave. Could it be that Prince Duan thinks I am waiting too long? Ming Yu took a few steps forward on his horse, walked to the front of the battle formation, and said with a smile, This prince really did not intend to come here, so I would take the liberty to disturb you. Let everyone greet you all the way. King Hunnel really looks down on this boy. Tuoba Ren sighed. This prince sincerely invited Prince Duan to come as a guest, but you didn't want my good intentions to be worthless in Prince Duan's eyes. It's better for Prince Duan to think about it again. It's not too late to change your mind. Ming Yu laughed, tilted his head and thought for a while before saying, King Hunli's kindness has been received here. But it is difficult for me to obey the situation here. If King Hunnel really wants to make friends with this prince, why not come to my Dayan Country? My Dayan Country has a lot of delicious food and fun. This prince will definitely do his best to make King Hunnel feel at home, okay? I don't eat a toast and eat a fine drink. Don't blame this prince for being obsessed with Prince Duan. You're welcome, Prince Duan. Tuoba Ren endured a trace of anger and said slowly, Don't be polite. Don't be polite. Ming Yu waved his hands again and again. If he wants to fight, he will fight. Why bother to come out to be polite? The other party's carriage began to turn around and retreat. Ming Yu tutted twice, and was about to return to the horse when he suddenly remembered something and asked loudly, "King Hunnel, I don't know something. Could you please clarify?" Tuoba Ren stretched out a hand from the carriage, signaling Ming Yu to speak up. Ming Yu was not polite, and asked with a smile. This prince turned northward, which attracted people's attention and confused his eyes, and asked himself that his hands and feet were very concealed, but you can still find clues. I don't know if it is where. Isn't it good enough? He was really strange. They spent so much effort and deliberately communicated to let General Wei cooperate with the strategy of attacking the east and the west to lead the enemy's forces to the south as much as possible. But they still saw through it. This really shouldn't be. Although they are also psychologically prepared, there is a small chance that the enemy will catch up. However, if he didn't get a clear picture, he was always unwilling, and he wanted to know which link went wrong. Tuoba Ren now regards fame and fortune as something in his hands, and he can never escape from his hands. He was also in a happy mood, and pointed to Song Lian, who was riding on the horse beside him. He said casually, "Prince Duan is very strategic. And you almost concealed it from everyone's eyes, but you don't know who this is next to this prince." Ming Yu glanced at Song Lian. This person was so beautiful, it's just a very casual action. And he can feel his elegant and romantic posture. He can be sure that he has never seen this person before, but he always feels a little familiar. Dare to ask who this is? Ming Yu asked. The humble name of the villain should not pollute the audiovisual, but since Prince Duan asked, I did not dare to hide it. The villain is Song Lian. After Song Lian finished speaking, he stood silently aside. Tuoba Ren stuck his head out and glanced at Ming Yu meaningfully. Being able to invite Prince Duan to Shuishi country, and knowing that Prince Duan is here, this master song has contributed greatly. Ming Yu almost wanted to explode the foul language, and turned out to be him, the one who made plans for Song Qingfu in the first place. After Song Qingfu was destroyed, this Song Lian never showed up. No wonder he felt a little familiar. He had seen the portrait of the wanted order before. In this way, Song Lian has committed treason to the enemy. It's a pity that I didn't catch him at the beginning, otherwise I wouldn't have what happened today. I really entrusted Song Lian's blessing. After Tuoba Ren's carriage had returned to the team, Ming Yu also rode back. Looking at the familiar faces of the soldiers of the guard battalion, although they were nervous, they were still determined. As far as their eyes could see, there was a strong will to fight. Ming Yu didn't want to say anything more at this time. These people have been following him to Liangzhou. They have changed from gangsters to good men with responsibility and passion. They are all good, and he is proud of them. There was a cold light in Tuoba Ren's eyes. Capture Prince Duan alive. All the rest will be destroyed. Like a surging wave, mercilessly rushing towards the square formation of 500 people in the middle. Everyone was attentive. Facing the torrent of iron cavalry rolling in, no one flinched, no one was afraid. The people in the front row tightly held the long hooked and sickle spear in their hands. Their eyes were fixed on the enemy, and a little closer, need to get a little closer. The bows and arrows in the hands of the people in the back row are ready to go. Xie Yisho looked at the small island like phalanx from a distance, and sighed in his heart that he was not as good as Ming Yu in the way of training troops. This is the Iron Army who is not afraid of the mountains. It seems that Cha-Cha-Chi has seen the dawn of victory. With just these people, their iron hoofs will turn into meat patties. It's getting close, it's already very close. Ming Yu can clearly feel the vibration of the ground. He holds the crossbow that Mo Zhang brought for him tightly in his hand. And after calculating the distance, he moved his finger lightly. An arrow, the crossbow from him, sent it out. At this moment, the guards lined up behind, and arrows shot at the enemy in front. These arrows slightly blocked the impact of the enemy in front, but they were only a block. Because of the small number of people, the arrows shot were also small, and they could not cause any effective lethality at all. However, this is what stops. The weak force created a big advantage for the people in the front row. Mo Zhang stared at the front. The horse's hoof was already in front of him. He calmly, and then shouted. The hook and sickle spear in his hand slammed out and attacked Pentium. Came the horseshoe. The sudden attack caught people off guard. The horse suddenly fell to the ground, and the person on the horse was thrown off the horse without any precaution. Then the second and third horses all encountered the same situation. One of the horses was unable to hold back and slammed into the shield, but the shield was stable and motionless. The people charging behind didn't know what was going on in front of them. Seeing the soldiers in front of them falling down one by one, they knew that there was bound to be a change in front of them. However, the torrent of horses' charge was engulfing them, and they wanted to stop, but they couldn't stop. Watching the horse step on the body of his companion, the horse neighed and screamed constantly. Mo Zhang and the others didn't stop, and the caltrops in the bag around his waist were thrown out without money. The archers no longer aimed at people, but instead took horses as their targets. Some of the horses rushing from behind stepped on the caltrops, some were hit by arrows, and some people turned their horses on their backs. Cha-Cha-Chi looked at the scene in front of him. His army of iron cavalry did not even break the first layer of the barrier of the phalanx, and already suffered heavy losses. The formation of the charging army has been disrupted, and the momentum is not as good as before. Many people slowed down for fear of accidentally hurting their own people. However, cavalry is all about speed, so where is the slightest advantage? Xie Yisho was staring at him, and he had already seen the fighter plane. Immediately, with a whistling sound, he led 500 men toward the enemy's right flank and flew out. At this time, he held the thunderbolt made by Ming Yu in his hand, calculated the distance, ignited it, and threw it violently. Everyone followed suit and threw all the porcelain vases in their hands to the enemy's rear camp. Cha-Cha-Chi and the others hadn't noticed anything yet. They were about to concentrate on meeting the enemy troops attacking the left and right flanks, but they turned and left when they saw that the enemy troops had left a few jars in the distance. Before I could figure it out, there was a loud sound like thunder in my ears, accompanied by firelight, gravel, and porcelain pieces. Some people were blown up, and some people were injured by the flying debris. What's even more frightening is that the horse has been frightened and can no longer care about the enemy and me, and is desperately running around like crazy. Even the carriage that Tuoba Ren was riding in was affected. Fortunately, the guards rescued Tuoba Ren in time so that he would not be injured. For a while, the enemy camp was in chaos, like headless flies. Under the clear sky, there was a sudden explosion of thunder, which angered the heavens. And a long life in heaven sent divine thunder to punish him. One by one, they couldn't care less about the other, and they all prayed for eternal life. Cha-Cha-Chi's ears buzzed, and he almost lost his voice. Where has he seen such a situation? Unable to respond for a while, he panicked. Tuoba Ren coughed again and again, and said in a hurry, "Stabilize the formation." Stabilize. However, the people and the horses were in a panic. How could they hear his orders? Not to mention the enemy, even his own people were stunned for a moment. I never knew that a small porcelain bottle could have such a huge power. No wonder the prince asked them to cover their ears. This sound is hard to bear. Ming Yu seized the opportunity to take advantage of his illness to kill him, not attacking at this time. What more? The Guard Battalion and the Imperial Guard's elite guards were not fuel-efficient lamps, and they took advantage of the opportunity to charge in a rush, immediately beating thousands of enemy heads. Go back, go back. Tuoba Ren raised his hand and slapped Cha-Cha-Chi in the face, and woke Cha-Cha-Chi, who had been stunned. You bastard, a nonchalant waste, don't hurry up and organize people. Counterattack? Ahem. Unfortunately, his body was not up to the mark. If he had led the army a few years ago, he would never have made such a mistake today. It's a pity that Cha-Cha-Chi is more than brave, and he doesn't respond well enough to become a general of the army. There are only so many enemies in total. And their own troops are 4 or 5 times theirs, so how can we be afraid of them? What is so terrible about a small mistake? You just need to calm down and organize a charge again. And you will definitely be able to crush them in one fell swoop. Cha-Cha-Chi was ashamed, and he wanted to turn the tide, but at the end of the day, he was young and had insufficient ability to deal with sudden changes, so he couldn't reasonably stop his soldiers at the first time. As a result, when you want to integrate the team, it is already unstoppable, which is directly equivalent to bombing the battalion, and it can no longer be reversed by manpower alone. Report. Enemy reinforcements are coming. Someone exclaimed to report, and they looked at each other, but there was a group of smoke and dust rolling in at a very fast speed. After a while, they could see the whole picture clearly. Ah, who is the Red Robe Army? My prince, what should we do now? Cha-Cha-Chi was already at a loss. Didn't the Red Robe Army have clearly gone to the south? Why did you suddenly appear here for reinforcements? Looking at the enemy troops who are still rushing to the left and right, many soldiers are killed by the enemy every time they pass. It should not be like this. These southerners were usually timid and fearful, and did not dare to confront their cavalry troops head-on, but today, with more than 1,000 men, they rushed their army to pieces. Tuoba Ren glanced in Mingyu's direction, sighed, feeling a little frustrated, and finally reluctantly threw a word. Withdraw. If there were no reinforcements from the Red Robe Army, he might not be reconciled to the last fight. But now, if they don't retreat, they can only be wiped out here. The rest of the barbarian cavalry began to retreat. Xie Yishou and Zheng Shiki clung to the rear team, vowing to bite down a piece of meat, and Mo Zhang naturally refused to fall behind. Now, the barbarians are panicking like lost dogs. It is a good time to kill the enemy. Li Man took a knife to a barbarian who fell off his horse, and then turned around to look for the next target. Behind him, Zhou Daiden hummed dissatisfiedly, "Brother Li, why are you taking my head again?" Li Man was speechless and slammed him, with a glance, "Shut up, this prince, so many enemies are not enough for you to kill?" The remaining few people laughed. Their subordinates were ruthless and even more energetic. They guard the battalion in groups of 4 or 5, with a moderate advance and retreat in attack and defense. A team is like one person, advancing and retreating together. In this way, it is like a sharp knife, firmly inserted into the enemy's heart. The enemy can't do anything with such a formation, can't break through, can't break up. However, they were able to catch a single enemy with a single slash, and they were invincible. The Red Robe Army who followed behind couldn't care about anything at the moment. The opportunity of the war was not to be missed, and under the leadership of a Bing, they immediately began to join the war. Ming Yu coldly looked at Song Lian, who was following Tuoba Ren. He hated people who treasoned the country the most in his life. Song Lian not only helped the bandits to kill the villagers, but also defected to the enemy and betrayed the country. This person must not be left behind. Ming Yu raised the crossbow in his hand and aimed it at Song Lian in the chaotic crowd. With a slight movement of his fingers, one of them flew straight out. "Be careful, young master." Uncle Ping guarded Song Lian every step of the way, fending off some cold arrows, knives and spears for him from time to time. small and powerful. The range is long and accurate, and the strength is even greater than that of ordinary arrows. When Uncle Ping realized that something was wrong, the arrow had already flown to Song Lian's side. With such a fast speed and strong strength, no one could match it. Uncle Ping didn't have time to think about it, so he pulled Song Lian and narrowly avoided it. Song Lian was shocked. And just now he felt the hot pain on his face. He stretched out his hand, and a smear of scarlet blood covered his palm. He hid just now, and although he avoided the key point, his cheek was still cut by a sharp arrow. Song Lian turned his head and stared at Ming Yu fiercely before being pulled by Uncle Ping to keep up with the main team and fled away. It was a pity that Ming Yu watched people flee.